The Robert Pattinson redemption arc theory. Robert Pattinson was once the face of a glittery vampire franchise, and for years, that was all anyone saw. After Twilight became a global phenomenon, Pattinson was trapped in a role that made him famous, but also made him a joke. Critics dismissed him. Audiences labeled him. And every interview he gave seemed to carry a kind of quiet resentment, not for the fans, but for the way his career had been defined by Edward Cullen. But the theory goes, Pattinson wasn't defeated by Twilight. He used it as fuel. What followed was one of the most calculated and fascinating redemption arcs in modern acting. He didn't take the easy road. He vanished from the mainstream and dove headfirst into indie films. No more blockbusters, no more teen fantasy. Just weird, gritty, risky roles that let him strip away the sparkly vampire image, one bizarre performance at a time. In Cosmopolis, he played a cold, detached billionaire stuck in a limo. In The Rover, he was nearly unrecognizable, twitchy, broken, desperate. Good Time pushed it further. Pattinson as a street, smart criminal in a manic, neon-lit nightmare. Critics finally started paying attention. They didn't just say he was good, they said he was serious. Then came The Lighthouse, black and white. Two men slowly going insane. And Pattinson gave a performance so raw and unhinged that it officially ended the phrase, he's just a teen heartthrob narrative. The arc was complete. He wasn't just respected. He was respected by people who once rolled their eyes at him. And then he returned to the mainstream. But this time, on his own terms. Tenet put him in a Nolan movie. The Batman gave him a cape and cowl, but this wasn't the superhero casting people mocked like they did with Twilight. This time, it was met with curiosity, even excitement, because the industry had seen what he could do. Pattinson wasn't trying to be a star again. He already was, but just a very different kind. That's the redemption arc. Fall into a franchise, become a meme, disappear into the art house, earn respect in the shadows, then come back as a version of yourself no one saw coming. Robert Pattinson didn't just survive the career-killing fame of Twilight. He weaponized it, not by fighting it, but by becoming something else entirely. The Jennifer Lawrence theory. Jennifer Lawrence's rise and fall in public perception was not entirely natural. It was part marketing genius, part relatability branding, and part overexposure backlash. Some even suggest her quirky personality was carefully manufactured. From 2010 to 2015, Jennifer Lawrence exploded in Hollywood. She was critically respected, like Winter's Bone earned her an Oscar nomination at 20, commercially dominant, like The Hunger Games and X-Men, and wildly relatable off-screen too, like tripping at the Oscars, joking in interviews, talking about pizza and farting. Her relatability wasn't entirely spontaneous. It was a calculated image strategy. Hollywood needed someone post-Twilight who could be attractive but not intimidating, funny but not threatening, talented and memeable. So Jennifer became the face of cool girl authenticity. She was the girl next door who won Oscars and also burped on late-night shows. From 2015 to 2018, people started to turn on her. Why? She was everywhere. Interviews, press junkets, magazines, award shows. Some fans thought her quirky persona felt forced after a while, like she was always performing realness. Accusations of being mean or careless surfaced, like joking about sacred rocks in Hawaii during filming. Critics said she was getting too many high-profile roles despite her average performances like Passengers and Mother. Jennifer Lawrence wasn't canceled, she was publicly cooled. She got so big, so fast, that people got tired of her, and the media machine moved on to newer faces like Florence Pugh or Anya Taylor-Joy. After Red Sparrow and Dark Phoenix underperformed, she took a break. She got married, had a baby, and came back with Don't Look Up still political, but more subdued. Now, she's shifting into producing, choosing fewer but meaningful roles, and slowly rebuilding her image. The Keanu Reeves is too good for this world theory. In the often chaotic and scandal-prone world of Hollywood, where ego, fame, and jealousy frequently dominate the headlines, Keanu Reeves stands out like a quiet storm, calm, kind, and remarkably grounded. This has led to what many fans affectionately call the Keanu as the good guy theory. The belief that Keanu isn't just playing heroes on screen, but actually embodies the virtues of humility, generosity, and decency in real life. It's not just that he's famous, it's how he handles that fame. Reeves is known for doing things that other celebrities rarely do, like giving up his seat on the subway, walking miles just to make it to a set, or quietly donating millions of dollars to cancer research and the unsung heroes of filmmaking like the stunt teams, the crew, and makeup artists. He does that in Matrix Trilogy and in John Wick films. He doesn't advertise these acts. In fact, most of them only come to light through others. That's the core of the theory. His goodness is authentic, not performative. His co-stars often say the same thing, that he's gentle, professional, and never pulls rank. He's the kind of guy who takes time to talk to a fan without turning it into a spectacle. In one famous viral photo series, people notice something interesting. When he poses with women, his hand hovers behind them instead of touching them, a subtle gesture of respect for personal boundaries. This isn't the behavior of someone trying to appear good, it's someone whose default setting is empathy. More interesting is that this behavior is consistent. Whether he's promoting a blockbuster film like The Matrix or quietly grieving personal loss, yes, there is pain in Reeves' life from the start. He lost his best friend, River Phoenix. He suffered the stillbirth of his daughter. His former partner passed away shortly after. Despite global fame and immense fortune, his private life has been carved by grief. But you'll never hear him complain. Keanu doesn't use pain as a PR tool. In a time when public figures are often revealed to be far less noble than their personas, the Keanu as the good guy theory becomes more than a fan fantasy. It becomes a symbol. Keanu Reeves represents the possibility that fame doesn't have to corrupt that kindness. Humility and success can coexist in the same person. He reminds us that you don't need to be loud to be powerful. You don't need to be flawless to be kind. And perhaps most importantly, in a world full of actors, it's rare and beautiful to find someone who's not acting at all. The Dwayne Johnson brand control theory. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doesn't just play characters. He plays himself, everywhere, and always. And according to the brand control theory, that's no accident. It's a calculated, strategic move to maintain total control over his image, his roles, and even how audiences perceive who he is. The theory says Johnson isn't just an actor, he's a brand manager. And the product? It's himself. Look at the roles. Whether he's in Jumanji, Fast, Furious, San Andreas, or Black Adam, he's basically playing a variation of the same guy. Physically invincible, morally unshakable, emotionally restrained, always the leader, never the villain. He doesn't lose fights. He rarely shows weakness. He makes dad jokes, flexes muscles, and saves the day, over and over again. The consistency isn't just coincidence, it's design. Behind the scenes, he reportedly has clauses in contracts that prevent his characters from losing fights or appearing too vulnerable. He's careful about how he's portrayed in everything, even in ensemble casts. In Fast Furious, when tensions rose with Vin Diesel, it wasn't just ego, it was about control. Johnson wanted to shape how his character was seen, and how he was seen by millions of fans. This theory still goes deeper. Outside of movies, he's built a personality that's almost mythic. His Instagram is filled with gym videos, motivational posts, cheat meals, tequila, and fatherhood. He's the ultimate modern hero. Humble but jacked, kind but powerful, busy but always grounded. But here's the twist. That level of control, it comes at a cost. By never stepping out of his brand, Johnson limits the roles he takes. You don't see him playing flawed characters. No broken men, no down on their luck losers, no deeply human, messy people. He doesn't do the whale. He doesn't do Joker, because those roles require vulnerability, and vulnerability threatens the brand. That's why some critics say his career feels stuck, because when every character is a version of a superhero, it stops feeling like acting and starts feeling like marketing. But maybe that's the genius of it. The brand control theory says Johnson figured out what sells and leaned into it with zero hesitation. He turned himself into a one-man franchise. Movies, TV, wrestling, energy drinks, tequila, fitness brands, everything flows through the same persona, reliable, unstoppable, unbreakable. And in a world of uncertainty, that's what makes him valuable. He's not just an actor, he's Dwayne Johnson, the guy who never changes, because he can't afford to. The Johnny Depp theory. Johnny Depp didn't lose himself in characters, he escaped into them. That's the theory. That Depp's long list of eccentric, offbeat, and often downright bizarre roles isn't just a love for weirdness, it's a lifelong escapism. A way to avoid confronting the one character he's never been fully comfortable playing, that is, himself. Look at his filmography. Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, The Mad Hatter, Willy Wonka, Tonto, Sweeney Todd. These aren't just characters, they're masks. Layers of makeup, accents, wigs, hats, tics. Each one further distancing him from his own face, his own voice, his own identity. He once said he doesn't watch his own movies, that he doesn't enjoy being in the spotlight. That fame makes him uncomfortable. So he retreats, not physically, but artistically, into roles that let him vanish. Roles where he gets to be anyone else. This started early. In Edward Scissorhands, his breakout role with Tim Burton, Depp barely speaks. But behind those shears and pale makeup is a theme that would repeat over and over. The outsider, misunderstood, fragile, performing for a world that doesn't know what to make of him. From there, the roles only got stranger. But the consistency? It was crystal clear. Depp wasn't choosing traditionally heroic or relatable characters. He was choosing the marginalized, the weird, the wounded, people who didn't fit in, people who had to create their own worlds to survive in someone else's. And behind the camera, his real life mirrored that same tension. Legal battles, tabloid wars, a constant tug of war between public perception and personal truth. To the world, he was an A-list celebrity. But to Depp, he was still that awkward, artistic kid from Kentucky hiding behind characters because the spotlight was too bright. The theory suggests that Depp's roles aren't random, they're chosen. Each one a reflection of his desire to stay hidden, even while being seen. He didn't chase awards or traditional prestige, he chased transformation. The stranger, the better. The further from himself, the safer he felt. Even Jack Sparrow, arguably his most iconic role, was based on a mix of Keith Richards and cartoon lunacy. But if you watch closely, there's sadness underneath the swagger. A lost man pretending to be in control. It's not just a performance, it's a mirror. That's the Johnny Depp theory. He's not just a master of transformation. He's an actor who used every costume, every accent, every oddball role as a shield, not to deceive us, but to protect a self that never quite felt safe in the open. Brad Pitt theory. The Brad Pitt theory revolves around the idea that Brad Pitt's filmography is a meditation on masculinity, and in every decade of his career, he reinvents the concept for a new generation, adapting, deconstructing, and reflecting the evolving identity of what it means to be a man in America. Phase 1. In the 90s, Brad Pitt plays characters that represent the fantasy of the perfect man, like attractive, rebellious, mysterious. Thelma and Louise, the charming hitchhiker. Legends of the Fall, the rugged, untamable brother. Fight Club, the anarchist philosopher and alpha male ideal, Tyler Durden. These characters aren't just sexy, they're dangerous, emotionally unavailable, and products of their trauma. Pitt is holding up a mirror to toxic masculinity, but dressing it in charisma. Phase 2. In the 2000s, Pitt begins to peel back the layers of those masculine ideals. The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford plays a mythic outlaw who's deeply insecure and paranoid. Babel, a father broken by loss, struggling to communicate. Troy, a warrior driven by ego, yet haunted by fate. Pitt starts breaking down the myth he helped build. His characters are flawed, lonely, and sometimes even emasculated. Phase 3. Now, Pitt moves into more reflective, mentor-like roles. Moneyball, a quiet, brainy general manager trying to find purpose and value in logic. Tree of Life, a father whose strictness masks fear and existential dread. Once upon a time in Hollywood, a washed-up stuntman. Gentle, yet dangerous, a relic of the old-school man. And lastly, Formula One, a retired 90s racing prodigy, is drawn back into the high-stakes world of Formula One to mentor rookie Joshua Pierce and help revive his friend's struggling racing team. This is Brad Pitt acknowledging that masculinity needs to evolve. He doesn't shout anymore. He observes, listens, and walks away from the fight when possible. Brad Pitt isn't acting as a man. He's acting as how men are imagined, feared, worshipped, or criticized. And whether that image is cool, flawed, or totally fake, he leans into it. That's why his roles stick with us. Because they're not just characters. They're ideas wearing sunglasses.